What is going on, Sports Wars? We're here. We're live. NFL Week 9 almost in the books. We got one more game tonight with the leading touchdown pass of the NFL in Baker Mayfield against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes ain't anywhere near that lead. But Baker Mayfield, I believe, has more passing touchdowns than anyone in the NFL right now on a 500 Buccaneers team, trying to take down the undefeated Chiefs. We had a whole lot of other stuff going on today or yesterday, including some injuries, including some embarrassments, including the Cowboys, including the Bears. Daniel Jones, your boy Daniel Jones, broke that streak, Beardo.
He did.
Threw for a touchdown yesterday. I bet that was good to see.
Yeah, it felt good to see Daniel Jones kind of get the monkey off of his back. I am sick and tired of this analytics where you're down by 2 touchdowns, so you go for 2. The Giants haven't successfully converted a 2-point conversion all season long, but Dable keeps trying for these 2-point conversions. I get it. I like being aggressive, but when you're simply just not converting, let's stop doing it. But we did have our third string, our emergency kicker in yesterday. We don't even have our fucking punter. We have the same kicker for punts and for field goals and extra points going yesterday. But listen, the Redskins are good, man. They're good, and they were down Brian Robinson, and it didn't fucking matter. Austin Eckler's having himself a hell of a season as well. But Daniel Jones, he played halfway decent yesterday. Did you see that rushing touchdown he had?
Game. Like, let's be real, they were in that game.
100% they were. They always play the NFC East really good unless it's the fucking Eagles a few weeks ago. But Daniel Jones, that rushing touchdown, he just completely bodied 2 defensive linemen and walked into the end zone. I love seeing that. We actually had a touchdown robbed from us yesterday. A bullshit illegal block on Darius Slayton. Did you see this? Did you see it?
I don't know if I saw this.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Yeah.
This was called an illegal block yesterday. So Wan'Dale Robinson right here winds up catching an out route for a touchdown, and Darius Slayton gets flagged for an illegal block.
And look like he's trying to avoid these guys.
That got flagged.
Like that.
Essentially, that's going to get called as OPI, right?
Right.
And we see this all the time in the NFL, and it's basically accepted in the NFL as long as you kind of pretend like you're really running a route. And I think that was kind of one of, you can see him just like stop and block the guy. I think that's why he gets called on this. If he acts like he's fighting through contact and trying to get to a place, that's not going to get called. Because they do have to, allow a little bit of room for the wide receiver to actually run their route. But because he doesn't make an effort to really move, that's why that gets called.
If he would have maybe just like sold a little bit more, just jogged his way through a streak route.
Yeah.
But man, that's so tough.
It's because he stopped still and stood there and looked at the guy who the ball's going to. If he wasn't so fucking obvious about it.
That's an easy call where it's like, if you don't
even throw his arms up, watch him.
Like, if you don't call it though, like if you don't throw the flag on it, there's no problem there. That's one that can go either way, I think.
Look at him. Go towards the end, and I want to see if he puts his hands up. He does because he knows this is the play. And so when you don't sell it, you're gonna get called OPI.
Yeah,
it just is what it is.
Yeah, but the Giants were in it. Heartbreaking loss. The season's over. Dable's probably gonna get fired. It is what it is.
I hope they fire fucking Matt Eberflus. I cannot tell you the level of disgust that Bears fans have this morning at the coaching staff after failing to take accountability, making the decision to essentially bench Tyreek Stevenson, which what Tyreek Stevenson did was retarded. Okay. Like what he did at the end of the game, the Hail Mary, it was retarded. At the same time, this is not high school or college bullshit. You play the people who you think give you the best chance to win, and Tyreek Stevenson gives you a better chance to win when he's on the field. And the decision won by the coaches of the Chicago Bears to not admit any wrongdoing in any way, not take accountability for the play calls, the offensive play calls down the stretch of that game, for the defensive positioning on the second to last play, for any of it, for anything that happened. Matt Eberflus just put it all on the players and on execution, even though there was terrible decisions made throughout the course. And then to suspend a guy who everybody knows is better than the next man up to send a message after the guy's been fucking completely and totally embarrassed and ashamed, no doubt. It probably rubbed a lot of people the wrong fucking way. And then you come out here and you look so unprepared and like you don't want to play.
Mm-hmm.
First half of that game, it all changed in like the last 2 minutes of that half. Bears driving down the field. Caleb Williams running for his fucking life, literally. Pressured on 50% of his dropbacks yesterday. Caleb Williams running for his life. Got sacked 6 times. Probably avoided 6 more sacks. Running for his life. Great pass. Open Keenan Allen. Easy play. Easy conversion on third down. Keenan fucking Allen drops another goddamn pass. Stalls the drive. Kick a field goal. And then somehow, some way, you allow a 53-yard rushing touchdown in the final 10 seconds of the half that takes the game where you probably should have gone down potentially and scored, but you end up kicking the field goal. That takes the game from, I think it was 9-14 at that point, to 9 to 21 going into half. Just a deflating, pathetic. That is the longest rush that has been given up in like the last 20 seconds of a half since we started tracking this ship. Since the NFL merger, that's the longest rush to be given up at the end of a half like that.
Was it, who was it?
The week after you give up that Hail Mary.
Right.
What the fuck, man?
Who was it? Was it Kyler or Connor for the rush?
Neither. It was their backup running back.
Did you see?
It was 3rd and 5 with like 20 seconds left from the 47-yard line, something like that, right? And instead of passing, they actually do a little hand up and just fucking breaks it for 53 yards. Not touched. Not a single person touched him. At that point, the game felt different. And then even though you clearly can't protect Caleb Williams, the dude can't even get past his first read before literally has to run for his life. And you keep him in there down 20 points with 2 minutes left to the point where he's getting sacked over and over and over again, or hit right after he gets rid of the ball, and he gets injured on like the last fucking play of the game because you for some reason have Caleb Williams in there still. What is he going to learn? You know what he's going to learn? That you can't block because you didn't do it all game long. Ryan Poles needs to fix the offensive line clearly, but Eberflus, no fucking chance. Fire his ass. I know the McCaskies love to run this organization like it's still in the middle of the Great Depression. It's not. Fire your fucking coach in the middle of the season. Do it. No one has any belief in this guy. He's never won a road game. What is this shit? You know the road victories that Matt Eberflus has had in his career? It's against like Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi, Josh Dobbs, and like throw in another piece of shit quarterback somewhere in there. Probably Daniel Jones. Not really Daniel Jones, but somebody of that level. Those are the road wins that Matt Eberflus has. Mm-hmm. Shane Waldron needs to go. His offensive concepts make no sense. Players that are in exactly the same position. Cole Kmet, who just signed a $50 million deal. Cole Kmet, somehow, some way, after being super productive in that little winning streak they had, Cole Kmet has 1 target over the past 2 games coming out of the bye. Mercedes fucking Lewis is getting targets somehow. Mercedes Lewis, who is like 40 fucking years old, shouldn't be on the goddamn field, shouldn't be on a team, quite frankly. Oh, his leadership skills. Go fuck yourself. That obviously doesn't mean shit right now. Mercedes Lewis has more. He's only played 20% of the offensive snaps. Shouldn't be playing that much. Mercedes Lewis has more false start penalties than he does yards receiving this season. Yet, Cole Kmet is absent. Gerald Everett. Fuck you. You have probably a top 10 tight end legitimately in the league in Cole Kmet. and you don't run anything for him. Instead of maybe throwing, back shoulder fades, instead of maybe throwing these types of things, your primary read to somebody like Rome Odunze, you're throwing to Keenan Allen, who's a little bit older, can't really get separation, and that's not really his strong suit. I don't understand the Bears' offensive play calling. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Shane Waldron, that bitch, needs to be fucking fired. Matt Eberflus needs to be fired. Should have happened before the season. I don't know if you remember this. We were sitting here in the aftermath of, John Harbaugh, of Harbaugh winning the national championship with Michigan, and looking to go to the NFL. Mm-hmm. There's all these guys out there. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator for the fucking Detroit Lions, who is going to be the most sought after head coach. He wanted the Bears job. They weren't interested. Cliff Kingsbury wanted to come and be the offensive coordinator. Caleb Williams knows him. They didn't want him. He goes to Washington. Look what they're doing in Washington. And instead, you stick with Matt Eberflus when there's a bunch of better options. Because the owners are cheap and don't want to pay two coaches at the same time. I don't know. It's embarrassing. Mm-hmm. It is truly embarrassing. And what's crazier is this team was a fucking retarded Hail Mary away from being 5-2 somehow. I don't get it.
Yep. And then you got players like DJ Moore who don't even want to be there.
That is overblown. That entire clip is retarded that's going around today.
Have you seen it?
Yes. The one where Caleb is scrambling for his life and he kind of walks off the field. Yeah, let's watch this. And I'll tell you why this happened. Go ahead.
Here's DJ Moore right here, inside wide receiver. Running like a little flag route. Caleb running for his life. And
this is every play of this fucking game right here. Caleb running for his life.
Running for his life. He's trying to, keep the play alive. And DJ Moore right here just walks to the sideline and just gives up while the play is still live.
Well, here's the thing. I think he probably thought that Caleb was going to get sacked as he was coming back. And if you go back a little bit, if you go back to when DJ was right there at the sideline, he stepped out of bounds. Before Caleb basically breaks it back to the middle of the field.
He can come back in.
No, he can't. Offensive players cannot come back in and be the first to touch it, regardless of whether they reestablish. They can't. And in fact, a lot of teams, and Eberflus actually talked about this today, a lot of teams teach if you do step out of bounds, accidentally, whatever, just stay off the field because you're going to get a penalty if the quarterback thinks you're eligible and you start running a route. Okay. Defensive player can go out of bounds and reestablish themselves back and they're fine. Offensive players cannot. Offensive player cannot come back and be the first to touch the ball, even if you reestablish position. So, and you have these fucking ML football accounts, all these fucking queers, these retarded queers out there who just tweet the most ridiculous shit, trying to basically make that same point.
So DJ this one Moore was Big Cat from Barstool.
But yeah, Big Cat's fucking retarded too. But he's just upset about the entire thing.
He's a Bears fan too, right?
What's that?
He's a Bears fan too,
right? He's a massive Bears fan.
Yeah.
He's hurting just like I am today. But no, once DJ Moore's toe touches out of bounds, he can't come back in. It did look like he was a little gimpy there as well, so I don't know. But you can't come back in and catch the ball. Mm-hmm. So. And then I also saw people wow, look at the disrespect he showed at the end of the game. It's like, you mean when DJ Moore and Caleb Williams slapped hands at the end of the game?
I saw that they're like, DJ Moore shoulder checked Caleb Williams when he's hurt.
Yeah, and it was literally, they just slapped hands as they were walking by. But no. I think DJ Moore's frustrated. I think everyone's frustrated with the coaches more than anything else.
Probably.
DJ Moore in an interview today was asked, hey, do you think this locker, or do you think Matt Eberflus has lost the locker room? And DJ Moore said, well, I don't want to say that, but, he said, hey, we're all in it together. It's back to 0-0. We got to make this push for the playoffs. Not exactly a ringing endorsement. Nobody respects Matt Eberflus. He should have been fired. I talked about it last year in the offseason. The fact that they kept Eberflus when there were so many other head coaching candidates that were out there is ridiculous. Remember, this is after Vrabel got fired, and he was out there.
Vrabel, Bill Belichick,
Harbaugh, and
Pete
then, of
Carroll.
course, Ben Johnson, who wanted to come here. And now guess what? Because he missed out on that opportunity, Ben Johnson is going to be the most highly sought after coach in the offseason. So now you're going to find yourself in a bidding war with everyone else. And the Bears aren't going to pay it. They're just not. I think that's why they didn't get Harbaugh.
You think Ben Johnson's gone no matter what? No matter how the Lions season ends, he's gone?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, he wanted to come back. He had the opportunity to go to the Bears, and then he said, "Nah, I want to come back and I want to win a Super Bowl with Detroit."
That'd be stupid. Like you have a window, right? This is Ben Johnson's window,
right?
And the way the Detroit Lions are playing right now, it's insane. The way he's got Jared Goff playing, he is like people are going to give him whatever number he asks for. He's going to get that number from someone. But we might as well get into some of these games instead of just
bitching about our teams.
Yeah, instead of just ranting about
Malik Neighbors pissed me off yesterday. You see that where
he has a couple random drops sometimes, doesn't he?
Couple random drops, but no, I'm talking about they brought out the sticks to measure the spot on a first down, on a potential first down. He takes his helmet off, walks over to the Washington sideline, and starts talking it up with Jaden Daniels in the middle of a game while they're measuring the spot. Goes over and talks to his college teammate.
Yeah, I was going to say they're both LSU guys, right?
Yeah, but it's like, sure, if you want to do that before the game, after the game, even in the middle of a fucking game, you're going to take your helmet off while you're on offense, walk over to the Washington sideline and start just talking it up with your boy. Come on, man. There's a time and place.
Yeah. God, fucking when in doubt, just draft an LSU receiver, huh?
For the Giants, yeah, pretty much.
For anybody.
True.
Fucking Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Jesus.
Yep.
Those are the two arguably best wide receivers in the game.
Yep. And then 10 years ago, you had Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. Yep.
Yeah. Dude, Jarvis Landry won me some fantasy leagues back in the day. PPR machine.
Mm-hmm.
PPR machine.
Back in Miami.
And then he went to the Browns.
And he went to the fucking Browns, and then he never heard of him ever again.
That's going to be the story of Keenan Allen, to be honest. Going to the Bears, you never hear from him again. The Keenan Allen thing upsets me because I'm such a massive fan of Keenan Allen. I love him as a player. He was with the Chargers when I was living in San Diego, and I was following the Chargers close. I've met the guy, got his autograph. I've literally got an autographed Keenan Allen ball right here. All right? It's right here. And it is a little disappointing just because he is a little bit older. But, man, age can't excuse a couple of the drops he's had this year. One that I think would have been Caleb Williams' first touchdown. I think he dropped that one. That was back in week 1 or 2 or whatever that was. Several others, but yesterday I cannot get over I want to see if I can find a clip of the drop that Keenan Allen had.
Dustin the Win, where did DK Metcalf and AJ Brown go? They both went to Ole Miss.
Keenan Allen drop. Yeah, here it is. This was like such an important play because it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, something like that. And I think the Bears had scored 2 field goals at this point in the game. This is kind of, maybe 2 minutes, somewhere like that to go in the half. They desperately need to continue this drive and actually score a touchdown on this drive, actually punch it in the end zone. And this is what happens.
Very rarely has the ball come his way, and sometimes when it goes
Oof.
Like that one's just...
You got to have that.
That's also one of the ones... I don't know why he jumped. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That might be because he jumped for some reason. The ball's basically right here. Like it's right here, and he decides to jump, and I don't fucking know, dude.
when it goes that long,
Maybe try to catch it with his body, but it didn't look like it. Just dropped it.
Just missed. Maybe he was trying to make a play after it or whatever. But man, bro, and this is what I'm saying. And even some of the completions in this game, the Rome Odunze, Rome caught like a 50-yard pass or a 40-yard pass or something that Caleb's getting his own offensive lineman pushed into him while he's throwing the ball. If he's able to step into it, he can put some air under it. Maybe that goes for a touchdown. But he basically had to all arm it, and not quite there because it's a 40-yard fucking bomb. And Rome Odunze comes down with it. But just fuck, when your quarterback is getting pressure on every play, you got to make this catch for him, man.
Mm-hmm.
You got to extend these drives, and that results in them having to kick that field goal. And instead of potentially, continue the drive, maybe at least take time off the clock before you kick the field goal, and the Cardinals go and break that 53-yard rush. And it's a completely different game.
Why don't the Giants utilize Jalen Hyatt more? He's not good. He's not good. He's had his opportunities. He's another guy that just drops passes. He was one of the fastest guys that came out of Tennessee 2 years ago. He hasn't been able to utilize that separation in the league, and that's just what it is. Plus, the Giants fucking stink, so maybe they don't know what they're doing. I don't know, but he's a guy, Jalen Hyatt. He's had opportunities, and he drops the ball, and you can't play guys where they're consistently dropping the ball. That's your only job.
Yeah, and I guess to wrap up this Bears-Cardinals game, Kyler Murray didn't even really need to do anything. The Cardinals ran all over the Chicago Bears, which has been a little bit of a weakness for them, especially up on that defensive line. But I think for the 18th time in like a century or some shit like that, the Bears gave up 200 yards rushing. Just rough. And everybody knows the coaches are going to go. And it's sad that we might have to wait to the end of the year for that to happen. I listen to Chicago Sports Radio. I listen to Matt Eberflus's appearance. I listen to Get Pressed by ESPN 1000 today. The guy's, he's a fucking loser. He's just a fucking loser. He's a great defensive coordinator, dog shit head coach. Fuck you, Matt Eberflus.
James Conner, a little bit of a career resurgence in Arizona. I like James Conner, man.
He's been solid for them, 100%. Now this game, Cowboys-Falcons. Falcons win 27-21. That is not really indicative of the type of game this was. The Falcons really controlled the game. And Dak Prescott did not finish the game because Dak Prescott got injured trying to come back against the Falcons, was replaced by Cooper Rush. And it does not sound good for the Dallas Cowboys, at least when it comes to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott injury update. Cowboys quarterback to miss multiple weeks as hamstring worse than expected. IR an option? ? And Dak essentially, it was, I think there was maybe either a sack or he had a little run to play before. The play he got hurt on, it wasn't much. He just stepped back, he throws the ball, and he said he felt something kind of pop or give in his leg and his hamstring that he never felt before, and it didn't feel right. And apparently they do expect him to miss some time. This was while Dak Prescott was on the sidelines. This was his evaluation of the Dallas Cowboys. We don't need any audio for this. You can lip read. We fucking suck, says Dak Prescott. The Cowboys do suck. Jerry Jones says, we're going to make moves at the trade deadline because we always think we can come back and do something. We need to get this team a little bit better.
Ain't no way.
No, this team's not going to get better. They can't run the ball. They're really poor defensively right now. The Cowboys should just throw in the towel. And I don't know, maybe the Dak Prescott injury is a blessing in disguise, almost like an excuse for some of these losses that they're probably going to have upcoming. But yeah, the Dallas Cowboys season at 3-5, probably for all intents and purposes was over just the way that they're playing. I don't think most people expect them to turn it around. Now you got a Dak Prescott injury.
Yep. And it looked like he banged up his hand too in that game as well. So he's got a busted up hand. His hamstring looked like the early reports were he's going to miss like 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, so he's going to be out for a while. The $60 million man. Jerry's going to be paying him while he's on the sidelines, recuperating as the Dallas Cowboys continue to perform poorly. Mm-hmm. Falcons, what can you say about the Falcons? I mean, they're a solid team.
Oh, yeah.
You know, watching them last year, I felt like if they could get a solid quarterback, they'd be a completely different team, and they are. You know, Kirk Cousins certainly has had 1 or 2 games here or there, coming off the Achilles, all that stuff. But for the most part, that offense has looked really solid, very well balanced with a great rushing attack, competent playmakers. Drake London, I think, went out of the game at one point. I think expect him to be okay, but really the story of this, Falcons quietly 6-3. The story is the Dallas Cowboys and the season basically being over.
Yep. Yeah, season's absolutely over for the Dallas Cowboys. Kirk Cousins really getting comfortable now in that offense. Drake London, he's a gamer, but he's been a little banged up the past few weeks. The Falcons had a few hiccups. They had a hiccup against the Seahawks at home like 2 weeks ago, but they've been playing really well within their division in the NFC South. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Kirk Cousins, man. He's looking really fucking good.
Yeah. Darnell Mooney having a great season for Atlanta. One of those, we didn't have any weapons Darnell Mooney was there last year. He's fucking good. He's fucking good, especially with Kirk Cousins throwing on the ball.
Imagine Cooper Rush. Remember 2 years ago, Cooper Rush went on an insane run. He was like, 5-1?
It was like a couple weeks. Yeah. It was a couple weeks.
It'd be crazy if they go on like a crazy win streak with Cooper Rush.
Now, Dolphins-Bills, I did not expect this game to be as close as it was. However, I did expect the Bills to win. They needed a 61-yard field goal at the end of the game to do it, but Tyler Bass drills a 61-yarder. They've had a little bit of kicking problems at Buffalo this year. I think a missed extra point earlier in the day, but 61-yarder, no problem in today's NFL, apparently. Josh Allen played really well. I think he did have an interception, but it literally went right out of Keon Coleman's hand. He dropped the ball, and I think it ended up as a pick. But Josh Allen played solid once again, and the Dolphins are now 2-6. Lost the last 2 games, even after getting Tua Tagovailoa back. Certainly a different team with Tua, but the results remain the same, apparently.
Yeah, the Dolphins keeping this one close. The Bills were damn near about to release and cut Tyler Bass because he's been so hit or miss this season. But yeah, nails a 61-yarder. We've seen a lot of kickers this season just drill those 50-yard plus field goals. And then, some of these shorter field goals that you see, like from like in between 20 to 30 yards, you've seen some kickers miss those would be, you'd think, easy field goals, but a lot of good field goal kickers this year in the NFL, especially from distance. But yeah, man, I mean, the Bills, I was out on the Bills last year and the beginning of this year. I thought their window definitely closed. It just seemed that way, man. They had a solid defense. They've lost a few guys on defense. Poyer's no longer with them. Who's he with?
He's with Miami.
He's with Miami now. There you go. Yeah,
and he keeps injuring Bills players. Yeah, they're not happy about that.
They went out and they got their true number 1 wide receiver who didn't play yesterday, Amari Cooper. But the Bills team, man, they're solid. They're solid. They're sitting there comfy at 7-2. Josh Allen could be maybe in the MVP conversation. I think Lamar Jackson is probably the front runner for MVP right now. But really, who deserves MVP right now this year so far is Saquon Barkley. He might be the best player in the league this year. He's so fucking good.
Yeah, it's tough because you look at what Derrick Henry's doing with Baltimore's crazy, but Lamar's also going crazy. Their synergy is really good right now. When their foot is on the pedal, I don't know if people can beat them. They're so fucking good. Mm-hmm. But their foot's not always on the pedal. They take some kind of mental breaks. I'm surprised they didn't let the Broncos get a little more back in that game. But yeah, back to this and how Josh Allen's playing.
Sure.
Josh Allen certainly should be in contention for an MVP. To me, when you look across like the grand scheme of things right now, you got Lamar Jackson, you got Josh Allen, Jared Goff in Detroit certainly has to be up there. People are going to throw Jaden Daniels in there. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. I don't know if you can justify that in his numbers compared to a lot of what these other guys are doing. Right. But they're looking at the record. They're looking, the team's turned around, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, these other guys' numbers are way more impressive than what Jaden's doing numbers-wise. So I don't think it's going to really hold out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And in a different year, Derrick Henry putting up these numbers probably would be. I just don't know if it's going to be justifiable for a running back to be an MVP consideration on a team with Lamar Jackson, a 2-time MVP who's playing better right now than maybe some of the other MVP seasons he had.
Correct.
That makes sense.
Yep.
We did get 1777 super chat from Eric Stratton. I'm over here because I can't stand Jeremy's voice and face anymore. Ryan, you got another day job if you want it with your sports expertise. Beardo, keep your day job.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it, Eric.
We'll have to wait and see what our records were yesterday. I think we both probably did pretty well record-wise in our picks.
Yeah, I know I went positive yesterday. I was wrong on the Giants game.
We're both wrong on the Saints, I think, yeah?
Wrong on the Saints, and then Tennessee, New England yesterday as well.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. I was the same, except I was wrong in the Bears, so I think we might actually end up having the same record. Stephen Daly, and thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. I don't know if anybody wants to hire me. Stephen Daly on for 2. Hashtag Notre Dame rules all. Hashtag Bills Mafia. Hashtag shout out West Texas.
You're all over the place, man, Stephen.
That's what I always say. Like, I don't get it. Burrow's killing it too. Listen, Burrow's putting up crazy numbers, but his team's got to make the playoffs if he wants a chance at MVP.
Yeah, very true.
And they got a little work to do to get that going, you know?
Yep.
But no, I don't discount it all. Joe Burrow's playing really well. Baker Mayfield, a couple weeks ago, I think Baker Mayfield was going to be a top 5 MVP candidate. But then you lose your top 2 wide receivers.
Yeah.
Really changes things. And if that team's going to be a 500 team, we'll see how what happens tonight and throughout the rest of the season. But yeah, your team has to be good for you to be in consideration for MVP.
Yep.
Speaking of Joey B, Raiders versus the Bengals. Now, you got called out a little bit because I asked the question to you, Beardo. Something about you picking the Raiders, them always losing.
Yeah, green-haired anti-liberal in the chat does not like me picking the Raiders, which I didn't. I didn't pick the Raiders yesterday. I thought they would cover, but they got blown. They got blown out. Again, Gardner Minshew gets benched in favor of Desmond Ridder, which I'm starting to get fucking pissed off at Antonio Pierce. I like Antonio Pierce, Giants legend. Super Bowl 42 fucking legend, okay?
You can't play this hopscotch game, man.
Agreed.
Fucking jump rope or whatever the hell. People jumping in and out. You can't do it.
Yes. You can't run a platoon system at quarterback, okay? You can't just, keep starting Gardner Minshew and then what? He has a few bad drives, then you pull him out. Like, that is going to absolutely destroy his confidence. And it's not like he's a young guy, for his confidence to be destroyed, but it's like, you got to decide, is this his team? You're going with him forward? It's going to be hard pressed for the Raiders and Antonio Pierce to convince their guys that, yeah, we're going to go out there and win games with Desmond Ridder. Okay. You can't be doing this to Gardner Minshew. For your team to have a fucking chance, you have to stick with Minshew. Stop fucking pulling him out in the middle of games, and or just for a drive, you have Desmond Ridder in, and then you put in Gardner Minshew again. Stop with the fucking bullshit. It's a lack of experience on the coaching staff there in Las Vegas. Quit fucking doing it. But
speaking of, they fired their offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, who less than a year after he got fired from his job as the Bears offensive coordinator, has now been fired as the Raiders offensive coordinator. So maybe time to go back and be like a fucking quarterback coach or something for a while, or go to college or something, Luke Getsy. I don't think it's going to work out well for you in the NFL for a couple more years, probably after that. But
or do what Cliff Kingsbury did. He went to Thailand for a year, fell off the face of the planet, probably got laid a whole bunch of Thailand hookers, and then comes back, and now he's one of the best offensive coordinators in the league.
Yeah, and he wanted to come to Chicago. He wanted to come with Caleb, the guy he knows.
Yep.
Bears said no. Shane Waldron is our guy. Shane Waldron is our guy. So, but the Bengals, to their credit, they took care of business. Joe Burrow throws 5 touchdowns. Not that much yards, only 250 yards for a 5-touchdown game, but they got shit done. This is a Bengals team that needs to perform really well down the stretch. You look at that and you think to yourself, they can probably afford 2 more losses, and still get a hold of one of those wild card spots. That's probably what their limit is. So they need to really perform well the rest of the way out. Pressure's on the Bengals, certainly, but if there's a team in an offense that can consistently put up numbers, I believe in the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow when it comes to that.
Absolutely. They've been there. Joe Burrow's playing insane right now. I got him on my fantasy team. He's playing good, and listen, they pretty much have to damn near win out if they want to find themselves with a wild card spot. You could technically maybe see 2 wild cards coming out of that AFC North.
Well, I think that's what they're probably going to be hoping for, certainly. And, 10-7, I think at this point in time, certainly not a guarantee. I remember back in the day, Lovie Smith went 10-6 with the Chicago Bears and got fired because they didn't make the playoffs that year. That seems like a lifetime ago, because it was a lifetime ago. But yeah, so you never know. Things can be crazy. You look at that Matt Castle season with the Patriots. I don't think they made the playoffs that year. And
no, yeah.
They were 10-6. Were they 11-5 or something?
They were, I can't remember. It was 10-6 or 11-5. But the Miami Dolphins won the division that year with Chad Henne.
Yeah.
Chad Henne. Did you see this video of Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow. I fucking love the guy. I love his fire that he has. The game is won at this point. The game is won. This is the very end of the game, and he's fucking pissed at his teammate. Did you see this video?
I did. I didn't really understand the context though.
So he's saying, like, you don't fucking sit down. Like, you don't sit down. This dude who didn't dress is sitting down on the bench, and Joe Burrow's pretty much like, get your ass up off of the fucking bench. Don't be sitting down. You're not playing. Walks away. He's like, I'm not fucking sitting next to you. The guy gets up, pats him. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry, bro. And then Joe Burrow sits down. He's like, get your ass up off of the fucking bench. You're not playing. You're not dressed. What are you doing sitting down?
There was some, there was a story about that, actually. Like, you got asked a question, but I wasn't able to follow up on it or look into it at all. But I know there's a little bit deeper story behind that. Whatever. Doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter. Let's back it up and get to this next game here. Now, I will say my predictions didn't work out for all of these games, especially not my Bears game. This one, I was pretty spot on. Do you remember what I said about Chargers and Browns, Beardo?
Yeah. Yes, you did. You said Jameis Winston, he's going to throw you 3 touchdowns in one game, and the next week he'll have 3 interceptions.
Yeah, almost verbatim. That's what I said. This is the Jameis Winston experience. An 8-8 team, a 30 touchdown, 30 interception season. Like this is what we're talking about, right? And he delivered. Jameis Winston, after having a really solid, start, and they win that game against the Baltimore Ravens last week, 3 touchdown performance. He snapped. He's schizophrenic, man. He's got multiple personalities. He snapped back to the other Jameis, had 3 picks. Chargers played really well. Justin Herbert, I think, is playing great. I think Justin Herbert is playing some of the best football right now, and it hasn't necessarily always translated stats-wise, at least touchdowns-wise. It's a little bit of a slow start for this offense to start the season, but I think that Justin Herbert is playing incredible ball when you actually watch him and some of the throws that he's making, even if his wide receivers aren't executing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And their run game, man. J.K. Dobbins, he's fit right in, filling Austin Eckler's shoes. He's having himself a hell of a fucking year off of that injury he had last year. I was right on the anytime touchdown yesterday for J.K. Dobbins. He had 2 on the ground. You love to see that. Yeah, I mean, it was... I'm honestly kind of fucking retarded for picking the Browns yesterday. But I was thinking, man, Winston looked real good against the Ravens last week. I had a little bit of hopes with this Browns team because it seems like anybody besides Deshaun Watson back there can actually do something with this Browns team because they got a good defense, man. But Justin Herbert and the Chargers offense, they picked them apart yesterday.
They certainly did. Really never in doubt that game was. This game is a game I didn't really have too much interest in watching. Now, once we found out that Drake May was officially cleared and was going to play, I picked the Patriots because I thought the Patriots would win. And damn, if Drake May didn't make it really fucking close. Drake May with a great play at the end of regulation, running around, scrambling around, buying time, eventually just barely getting off a pass that gets caught by Stevenson in the end zone. And I think it was a mistake, okay? I think it was a mistake by what's the name of the coach? Rod Mayo. I think with all that moment, I think he should have gone for 2 on the road. I think you should have gone for 2 instead of trying to kick that one to tie it up and go to overtime. I think you just, hey, you flip that coin, you take your chances, you come out of there with a win or a loss. It's not like this team is going to do anything this year. I think that's what you should have done. With all that momentum on your side, with that great Drake May play, didn't work. Or they didn't do that. Goes to overtime. And the opening drive, the Tennessee Titans take like 8 minutes off the clock.
Yep.
Kick a field goal. And, you're leaving a little over 2 minutes for Drake May to try to go down there. And he goes for the home run ball, or a ball he really shouldn't have thrown, gets picked off, game ends. Unfortunate. Overall, I like Drake May. I like watching Drake May play. I think he's going to be really good. He does make some pretty careless mistakes and does turn the ball over a few times. We saw it to end the game. But overall, certainly a better option than Jacoby Brissett. Opens up that offense completely. And despite the Tennessee Titans being dog shit, they did damn near go into Tennessee and beat them.
Yeah. Yeah, that play at the end of regulation was insane. But yeah, boring game. Well, not necessarily boring, but an ugly game. Really nobody cared about. Mason Rudolph, he's playing halfway decent. And even when he was with Pittsburgh, he always kind of just played just good enough to get some wins. And he's doing it right now with Tennessee. I mean, you've seen some flashes last week. Then again, they played Detroit last week. So Detroit's just annihilating everybody that they play week for week. But Mason Rudolph, much better option than what's his face. I keep forgetting his name now, and I was high on him.
You love
Will Levis. I thought Will Levis was going to have a decent year this year. When we were doing our pre-regular season predictions, I thought Will Levis was going to have a good sophomore year. Absolutely not. But Mason Rudolph playing just good enough for the Titans.
I want to show people this is the play we're talking about. And I'll try to keep it paused and stuff like this. 3 seconds left. Last play of the game. Drake May. Buying time, scrambling around, goes one way, goes the other way, whoop, dodges. We need a Chris Berman, what does that sound? Whoop, Chris Berman sound effect. Oh shit, they're coming. Oh, get the fuck out. Oh, go. Just barely gets it off and lands in the running back's arms. That was the last play of regulation. I think they should have gone for 2 there personally.
You're right.
From Game On Sports for $10 in the chat over on Rumble says, my Patriots have the best young quarterback in the league. Time to keep tanking and get him some help. I like Drake May. I think you guys are going to be happy with Drake May. Although I did also say that about Mac Jones after his rookie year. I did also say that about him. But that was, listen, I went up and saw Tom Brady's return. Actually, the last 2 NFL games I've been to have both been Tom Brady games. One was his return to New England. And, they end up winning. The Bucs end up winning, but Mac Jones put up a fucking fight, bro. And then I watched Tom Brady's last game ever, that loss against the Cowboys in the playoffs. But anyway, Patriots and Titans. Commanders and Giants, we talked about this one already. Your Giants stayed in this game, Beardo. They really did. They kept it interesting. They kept it close. Daniel Jones, and look at these stat lines right here. Everybody talk about Jaden Daniels' the second coming. Those stat lines pretty fucking close, him and Daniel Jones, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Daniel Jones, he also had a rushing touchdown as well. So 3 total touchdowns for Daniel Jones yesterday. We saw a little bit from our rookie tight end, Theo Johnson from Penn State. He's been a little inconsistent, dropping some passes this year, but he got his first NFL touchdown yesterday. Big kid, man. Big kid. Malik Neighbors, listen, he was loafing yesterday, man. He was loafing a little bit. I don't know what the fuck's going on with Malik Neighbors.
You went to another concert, man.
Another Travis Scott concert, I guess.
To be honest, Malik Neighbors, wide receivers can be divas. We talked about DJ Moore a little bit. I think all that stuff about DJ Moore was overblown, and I explained why I thought it was. But wide receivers can be divas. Malik Neighbors is a rookie, and he's already a diva.
Yeah.
What was it like 4 years ago when he got, or not 4 weeks ago, he got asked a question about, the offense is like, I'm wide open all the time, so I don't know what I can do. I can't throw the ball to myself. Whatever the fuck he said, you know what I'm talking about?
Something similar, yeah.
Yeah.
Something similar to that. And then before the season even started, when he got drafted, he said a comment like, yeah, we just got to figure out the quarterback situation. It's like, motherfucker, you haven't even practiced with the Giants yet, and you're already talking about the quarterback situation. Going over to the Redskins sidelines and chatting it up with Jaden Daniels during the middle of the fucking game. I didn't like that at all. But really, the story yesterday was we had the Redskins on several times, 3rd and long, and our secondary just left guys wide open. Some big passes. And we just put them like we had them in good position where they're going to have to punt the ball away. Giants have time to take this game away. And on a 3rd and long several times, it was at least 3 or 4 times where we had them 3rd and long, and they just convert. One was like a 3rd and 15, and they fucking converted. So the Giants secondary, a little suspect, but that's pretty much it, man. That's all I have to say about that game. I love Tyrone Tracy. He runs hard, man. That dude's got a fucking motor. So I like both of our running backs, Singletary and Tracy. But our defense, our secondary, is kind of our Achilles heel right now.
Yep. Well, at least my pick was right. I was rooting for you guys, though. For the first time this season, I was rooting for the Giants. And they let me down. Now I know what it's like to be you. This game, Saints and Panthers. Bro, the Saints, you remember when the Saints started this season, Beardo?
2-0, and they freaking put a 40 burger on 2 teams back-to-back, and they haven't won a game since.
They had, like, the best start offensively in, like, 25 years or something for any since, like, the greatest show on turf. Something like that, right?
Yep.
They've lost 7 straight since then.
Yep.
Chris Olave almost died on the field yesterday. His 4th concussion in like 2 or 3 years. Everybody blaming Derek Carr for you can't throw the ball like that. Okay. Dennis Allen got fired this morning.
Yes, he did.
I wish that would have been followed by Matt Eberflus getting fired. Didn't happen. But Dennis Allen has officially been fired from the Saints. It's done. After you lose like that to the Panthers, I guess that's the straw that broke the camel's back. Bryce Young gets a win, though. Bryce Young, after riding the pine for a while, gets a start, and he gets a win in this game. So got a little feel-good story for old Bryce Young there.
Yeah, both of these teams fucking suck. I seen that Derek Carr got Dennis Allen fired in both in Oakland and in New Orleans as well. So I like Carr, man, but he's another guy where it's like 1 week he's really fucking good, and the next week he's a completely different quarterback. Alvin Kamara having himself a hell of a year too. Age doesn't seem to be catching up to him just yet. He's been good for several years. Riddled with injuries for a little bit the past few seasons. He's even been banged up this year, but he's doing well. But yeah, both of these teams fucking suck.
Yeah, and you had like Michael Thomas, who don't even get me started on Michael Thomas. Dude was on pace to be like one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. Injury bug, stuff like that. Obviously, Derek Carr's former teammate now. He was like calling him out and be like, Derek Carr, Chris Olave's head injuries on you. He was walking around like hanging out of his car and asking random citizens what they thought about Derek Carr. Like in New Orleans, they're just like, man, fuck Derek Carr. I hate his ass, blah, blah, blah. Like Michael Thomas is on a vendetta against Derek Carr.
Yeah, I saw that. He tweeted something and he was saying some stuff about Derek Carr, like trying to kill Chris Olave. That's just nonsense, man. This is football, man. It's a brutal fucking sport. In no way, shape, or form did Derek Carr get Chris Olave injured. That's just ridiculous.
Now, it does harken back a little bit to something Tom Brady said in the offseason, and he was talking about how quarterbacks have to take a little more responsibility which balls they decide to throw and don't throw. And, if I put a ball there, I might get my guy hurt and I need to put it in a position. That's great for Tom Brady to say. Tom Brady's one of like fucking 3 or 4 people in NFL history that can choose where to put the ball in that way. Most people out there, they're just hoping to get it where the guy can fucking catch it, maybe run with it or something like that, right? So I do understand that. And if I guarantee that if Derek Carr thought that Chris Olave would have got his head taken off, he probably doesn't throw that ball. But if quarterbacks were able to judge exactly, with perfect timing, what's going to happen, guess what? They never throw interceptions. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just not the case sometimes. And Chris Olave seems to be one of those guys who, if he takes a hit, he's going to take a hit hard. He's not going to get up from it. And a little bit of a scary moment yesterday, but apparently everything's okay. So maybe Chris Olave missing a few more games.
And if that's the case for Brady, I mean, Brady's thrown several passes where he got Wes Welker fucked up.
Yeah. Well, Wes Welker got a lot of concussions. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Broncos and Ravens. And here are the Ravens. Dude, Derrick Henry. We all saw this move, Derrick Henry to the Ravens. And we thought, God, that could be pretty nasty. That backfield combination, not knowing if they're going to hand it off, maybe run read options, like what they might do with Lamar and Henry back there. I fully anticipated Derrick Henry at this age with all the tread on his tires to have a little bit of a limit, maybe taking 50% of the snaps, 50% of the carries, something like this. This dude is having an insane season.
Yep.
Like Derrick Henry already easily over 1,000 yards. Let's see if I can find Derrick Henry's stats, actually.
Yeah, he hit 1,000 rushing yards on the season yesterday.
Let's see where he's at.
It's up there in the top right.
Right now, 1,000 yards, 6.3 yards per carry, and 11 touchdowns. I think he scored a touchdown in every fucking game. Like, Derrick Henry is having an insane year, and obviously it does help when you can't just put 8 in the box and worry about Derrick Henry like they could for years and years with the Titans. A little bit different story with Lamar Jackson and with his capabilities and stuff like that. But this is a Ravens team that when they are clicking, they might be the best team in the league. And Lamar Jackson had a very efficient game. I fully anticipated that they would go up big. I even said this in the game. I guarantee they're going to go up big at one point, but I thought they would let the Broncos back in. They didn't. Bo Nix, I think Bo Nix has been playing well. I think that Sean Payton knows how to scheme offenses. We've seen that throughout the course of his career. I think Bo Nix is playing well. He got to catch a touchdown yesterday, which was awesome to see.
The only touchdown they scored was a receiving touchdown by Bo Nix. He is very athletic. He's got a big body. He's growing on me. I do like Bo Nix. I do think that there's a ceiling for him. But give this Denver Broncos team a few years. Get some weapons around him, some better weapons. And as well, shore up that offensive line, get a little bit of a run game back there because they don't really have any identity on the ground. I think the Broncos could be really good in about 2 to 3 years' time. But, dude, the Ravens are so freaking good, man. They're just that offense is just insane. You got Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, who's kind of been absent all year. They're not really utilizing him much this year except for, like, blocking. You even have, who's their other tight end? Isaiah Likely. He's a beast too. So this Ravens offense is just really just rolling right now. They have found their groove. They've lost a few stupid games to the Raiders, to the Browns, and week 1 against the Chiefs. And that was a really fucking close game too. The Ravens almost won that game against the Chiefs week 1 if it weren't for a fucking toe being out of bounds in the end zone. So the Ravens are... It's tough. I think if the Ravens and the Chiefs were to meet again right now, next week,
I'd pick the Ravens.
I'd pick the Ravens as well.
I probably would pick the Ravens if they met next week.
Now, if it's the playoffs, that's a different animal because the Chiefs have that playoff experience. It's a different game. We've seen Lamar Jackson just completely fumble and choke in the playoffs the past few years. So, but I really like what I'm seeing for the Ravens right now.
My TV just randomly turned on. I hear Trump speaking. I'll be right back.
For sure. So moving on from that game, we have Jaguars-Eagles. Jaguars-Eagles. Let's see if I can share my screen since Ryan left this. I'm sure he'll be right back. But Jaguars-Eagles, Doug Peterson going back to Philadelphia to play against the team that he won a Super Bowl with a few years ago. And it looked like the Eagles were going to just take this one away early on. They jumped on the Jaguars early on, and then you see a little bit of a comeback.
Jump over, like Saquon did.
Like Saquon, he had a backwards hurdle over a guy. Insane play. And I'll repeat myself here. I think Saquon right now, I know Derrick Henry's having a massive season. Lamar Jackson's having an incredible season. The Lions, you got Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs. Saquon Barkley might be he might be the best player in the league so far this year. The dude is pretty much the entire Eagles offense. He's so fucking good.
I've never seen anything like this in my entire life of watching football. We've seen hurdles. I've never seen one with the guy's ass facing the end zone in this way. The end zone he's supposed to be going to. Like a no-look reverse hurdle. I don't know what you fucking call this, but watch this. Oh, my God.
You got the spin.
Not like a 40-inch vertical or something, so not too many running backs in the league are going to be able to do that. But
you hit him with that nasty spin move, and then right after. So look at this spin move, and
great
then
spin move,
and then backwards hurdle.
That's
insane, dude.
Crazy, dude.
Insane.
One more look from a different angle. Oh, God.
Magway guy says, who would rather have, Barkley or Henry right now? I'd rather have Barkley just because he's a threat on the ground and in the air.
Yeah, he's a little younger than Derrick Henry too, as well, right?
Yeah. Well, quite younger.
Yeah.
He had his ACL injury. At this point, it's been 4 years, so he's fully recovered from his ACL injury. Dude, if the MVP weren't notoriously a quarterback award, I'd say Barkley. Barkley he's right up there with all of the MVP candidates. Dude is a fucking animal.
Yeah, but another thing we just have to talk about it. Eagles are 6-2, but they let the Jags back in this game.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
More poor coaching decisions by Nick Sirianni, at least in my opinion, that continue to sometimes take points off the board for the Eagles or let other teams get points on the board. And they are damn lucky that Trevor Lawrence threw that kind of bad throw and interception at the goal line to end this game. Because, dude, could you imagine what the narrative would be right now if they let them get back into that game and win that game and Jacksonville wins at Philly? Because that is almost what happened.
Right.
They needed a goal line stand, and Trevor Lawrence threw a bad pick.
They're already calling for Nick Sirianni's head. Like, Philly fans are fucking brutal. Maybe some of the worst fans in the NFL are Eagles fans. They're never fucking happy. And, dude, if they let the Jags back and win that game yesterday, dude, they would want Nick Sirianni dead. They wanted his head on a fucking stick.
Yeah, I could just see, like, Eagles fans tweeting, do you want Nick Sirianni to die? And then the meme of him just, like, nodding at the camera.
Yeah.
That's what I could imagine.
Yeah, the Eagles sitting at 6-2, really just a half a game behind the Redskins in the NFC East because of that bye week. They're not a very impressive 6-2, I will say. Saquon Barkley is what's
the last several weeks when they have been focusing on running the ball at probably a 2-to-1 clip versus when they throw it. They've been much better. Taking Jalen Hurts back to this 15, 20, 25 throws a game instead of fucking 40 throws a game or whatever. That's the recipe for success. Another reason you shouldn't have given Jalen Hurts $55 million a year. But with throwing in just kind of circumstantial situations and situational type of things, instead of putting so much on Jalen, he hasn't turned the ball over like he was earlier this season.
Like, and AJ Brown went down yesterday too.
Say it again.
AJ Brown went down yesterday too. So they're a little banged up on offense, but as long as you got Saquon, his game, it's almost similar to McCaffrey. He is a threat on the ground and through the air. He had a receiving touchdown yesterday too.
Yeah, definitely more capable of catching the ball than some other guys in the league that are known kind of bell cow backs.
Right.
Jose Contreras over on Rumble for $1. The only way the Cowboys win the Super Bowl is if they remove the salary cap. Even then, I don't know.
Even then, no. Jerry Jones has to buy another helicopter. He's only got 5. He's saving up for his 6th helicopter.
All right. Jose Contreras has the numbers about your Raiders picks, Beardo.
Raiders picks this year? Holy shit.
Beardo has picked the Raiders 6 times this season.
Really?
Yes. With 4 losses in those 6 times.
Okay, so I was right against the Ravens. I picked them against the Ravens. And I don't remember who else I picked them to beat. But
so you have picked the Raiders a lot. that is a lot of times to pick the Raiders this year.
I don't know why, man. I just like the Raiders,
like Gardner
man.
Minshew. Antonio Pierce doesn't.
I like Gardner Minshew. I like Antonio Pierce. I don't know. I have a little bit of a soft spot for the Raiders. I don't know why. I have zero reason to. I don't know. I like the Raiders.
You're like Brock Bowers. That's a guy. I don't know why. I like him too. He's great. But every time he takes off his helmet, I'm like, this dude is going bald at like 23.
Yeah, he's like 22 years old and he's almost damn near fully bald.
Like
one of the best tight ends in the league, though. Brock Bowers is fucking awesome. Yeah, he's great.
Lions Packers, big NFC North matchup. The Lions got outgained by 250 yards. Didn't matter because it was all about how they were able to get those yards in the field position they ended up in because of mistakes by the Packers. Jordan Love, always good for an interception, the highest paid player in like NFL history, Jordan Love. And the Packers go down in Lambeau. The Lions cruise. I heard an insane stat the other day that Jared Goff has had 30 straight completions, over 30 straight completions when he throws to Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Wow.
Like there's not been a time he's targeted Amon-Ra St. Brown and it's ended up incomplete since the middle of September. That's an insane fucking number.
Yeah, this was a ugly game yesterday as far as weather goes. It was pouring rain all game yesterday. Big running back game here. Also, Jordan Love, when he throws interceptions, he doesn't just throw interceptions. He throws some of the most ugly, horrible, ridiculous,
like
stupid interceptions ever. Yes, like Will Levis. His interceptions are gruesome mistakes, and he had a pick 6 yesterday. I think his interception was a pick 6, right?
I don't remember.
I think it was.
I don't know if it was. Yes, it was. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
27-yard interception. I knew it was either an interception return or it was right in like their territory. I knew that. It was on that screen pass, right?
Yeah. I mean, really, yeah, it was like a little dump off pass that he was trying to do, but it went right to the fucking defender.
I'm gonna see if I can find. Here it is. And this is what I've been saying about Jordan Love. Mm-hmm. He plays with this like fucking wild abandonment. Like he will throw some throws. You're like, why the fuck are you throwing that? About half of them end up looking like terrible interceptions. About half of them are like, oh my God, what a play kind of thing. When it works, you love him. When it doesn't, you probably hate him. But here it is. Yeah. But yeah, it's Jordan Love, always good for a pick. Truly embodying the legacy of Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, the Lions are certainly one of the best teams in the league. There's no doubt about that. And I do think they're leaps and bounds above the Packers. Anytime anybody's going to Lambeau, I think this may have been the Lions' first game outdoors this season.
It was.
So, you always have to factor those things in when you're looking at how these teams are built. But man, they did exactly what they needed to do. They weren't asked to do as much as maybe you would expect to beat the Packers, but they got it done, and they are in cruise control right now in that NFC North. And then obviously another team that we might as well talk about this one now, this Sunday night game, which was, I didn't get a chance to watch it other than just like highlights because I was out at the time. But I know the Colts did go up early because of a pick 6 or a fumble return for a defensive touchdown, I believe, for the Colts. But then the Minnesota Vikings took care of business. Joe Flacco, even the great Joe Flacco, not really able to move the ball too successfully against this team. Minnesota, continues to play very, very well. Now 6-2 with Sam Darnold, just fucking out there throwing dimes, bro. He did throw 2 picks, but fuck, he only had 6 incompletions.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to watch this game either. I was playing Call of Duty with the crew last night. But yeah, Joe Flacco couldn't really do anything. He was not effective last night. No touchdowns, 16 completions, interception. I don't know. This is kind of, you'll get a game like this out of Flacco. You'll get like 3 or 4 good, consistent games where he's a great game manager, and then you just he Joe Flacco's it a little bit. In his old age, I mean, dude is like 39 years old, and this Colts team, listen, they're not very good. They're not very good with Anthony Richardson or with Joe Flacco. This Colts team is not very impressive. They haven't been all year. But I still think that Joe Flacco, they're going what would have been the Anthony Richardson stat line have been. He would have probably had about 40 pass attempts with 16 completions.
It would have been, Anthony Richardson would have been 11 for 20. He would have had like 40 or 50 yards rushing. He would have had 2 picks, a fumble, and a concussion. That's the stat line for AR-15.
Yeah.
AR-5, I guess now.
Mm-hmm.
Or is he 5? Is that his number?
Yeah, number 5. Yep.
Changed to, yeah. AR-15 is a sick nickname, though.
It is. It is.
Greener and anti-liberal for 5 Beardo. You're still a jinx in my eyes, but we're still cool. Thank you for the proof, though, Jose Contreras. That's right. He's got all the numbers to back this shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I can't speak too much to the game itself because this is really the one game that I didn't get any opportunity to see much of last night. But this game ended exciting.
Yes.
Overtime victory for the Rams, and the Rams get back to 4-4, beating the Seahawks, who are now 2-4 at home. Man, it's week 9. They've had 6 fucking home games at Seattle. God.
Mm-hmm.
But Puka Nacua got ejected early in this game for throwing a punch, which, probably, technically by the letter of the law probably was. I don't know if he should have got thrown out for it specifically, but he did. And the Rams, who looked so miserable earlier this year with so much of their team on, an injury status, man, they're right back in the thick of this division. I honestly thought Matt Stafford was going to get traded away at one point this season.
Yeah.
When they had that poor start, Cooper Kupp and Puka, you wasn't sure how long these guys were going to be out for, and it really seemed like the season could be over. I thought Matthew Stafford was going to get traded.
Yep.
But I think they still have belief in this team that they could potentially do something.
Even just a few weeks ago, there was trade rumors. Matt Stafford to Minnesota, Matt Stafford to Miami, Matt Stafford to the Giants.
I don't know. I don't think the Minnesota thing was ever serious. Honestly,
it was floating around. I mean, obviously, I don't know why Minnesota would go ahead and do that and bite. I mean, when you have Sam Darnold playing, he's playing consistent lights out football for the Vikings right now. But that rumor was floating around. But some serious rumors to Miami, and there was even some to the Giants as well. But they're right back.
Just from Giants fans.
It very well could have been. Did you see this meme about Puka? Rams fans, Puka, we need you to make a play. Puka.
That was early. The game was like 3-0 or something at that point. He got early.
Very early. Yeah. But yeah, man. So games in overtime and a huge walk-off passing touchdown at the end of the game. So that was exciting. And obviously that bum Geno Smith with 3 interceptions. What a freaking loser.
Geno Smith still may be leading the league in yards after this game. I don't know. Let's look at old Geno Smith. 2,500 yards this season.
First.
Yeah, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Not great. Not a great. What's Daniel Jones' ratio?
Probably worse.
Yeah, but yeah, when you do look at this division, we can go. Let's look right now. Now that we've got to all these games,
dude, the NFC West is wide open. Wide open.
Now, obviously, Christian McCaffrey is supposed to be returning at some point. Certainly that's going to make a difference for them. But this team's just been riddled with injuries, and they haven't been playing great. Let's go to standings. Here, let's go to playoffs. Let's look what if the playoffs started today, what would the picture be?
It's crazy that Pittsburgh is first in the AFC North. That's
Well,
fucking crazy.
The Ravens have played one more game than them, so they got that loss. But yeah, and with Dangerous, back there, I don't think they're looking back anytime soon.
Be careful. It's spicy.
It's spicy. But look at the NFC picture right here. And you can see the Arizona Cardinals right now are in the driver's seat in the NFC West after the victory over the Chicago Bears. Well, they were picked. They beat the best team in the league, the Chicago Bears, so they got anointed NFC West leaders at this point in time. We'll see how that goes moving forward. But certainly, let's see if I can break this down by divisions right here. NFC West. Rams at 4-4, 49ers at 4-4, Seahawks at 4-5. This division is up for grabs. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
San Francisco 49ers are the only team that have a positive point differential, by the way.
And earlier this season, before the season started, you might argue that the NFC West might have been one of the most competitive divisions in football with the Rams, as long as they were healthy, and same thing with the 49ers. If they were healthy, those teams would be fighting it out, battling it out for first place. We got the Cardinals there playing, halfway decent, consistent football. Did the Cardinals? I can't remember. I might be remembering incorrectly here. They played the Bills. Did they get blown out by the Bills, or did they blow out the Bills? No, they blew out the Rams.
Yeah, I do think they blew out the Rams, if I remember right. But you go to this NFC North, still the only team that has a positive point differential for every fucking team, including the Bears. God damn it. Even after a 20-point loss to the fucking Arizona Cardinals. But yeah, division completely and totally up for grabs. NFC South, to me, it looks like the Falcons clearly have the edge, especially with Tampa Bay dealing with those injuries, but you can't count them out yet. I think that there's a chance all three of these teams make the playoffs, not the Bears.
Yeah, go back to the playoff standings. Let's see where the wild card spots are at.
Playoffs. So NFC right now, if it ended today, you'd have Lions, Vikings, and Green Bay all making it. Because it's 7 spots now, right?
No, there's 3 wild cards.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 7 playoff spots.
Okay, yeah.
You got your 4 division winners, and then you got your 3 wild cards.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Then the Eagles would also make it. And that is a pretty big drop off there when you look at games back. 4-4, 4-4. Bears hanging on there for dear life. And over the AFC, Denver Broncos. You got 3 teams from the AFC West that would make it. Kansas City, Chargers, and the Denver Broncos right now, if it ended today. Then you got Colts, Bengals, Jets. Jets still in the thick of it at 3-6.
Bengals on the outside looking in, but I think the Bengals could very easily leapfrog and take that 7 seed.
Yeah, certainly. There's no doubt about that. But we do have a game tonight that's starting like right fucking now, by the way.
Yep.
But we talked about it. I already picked Kansas City Chiefs in this game, but I expected I expected this team to put up a little more of a fight last week. After going through that kind of traumatic experience, you never quite know what's going to happen with Evans and Godwin both going down. They didn't exactly perform as I expected, but you never know. Do the Chiefs have the Bills next week? What is their no, they have the Broncos next week. Bills the week after. I was going to say if the Bills was next week, this could be one of those kind of look ahead games, but it's Monday Night Football. I think the Chiefs are going to be prepared. I think Baker's going to throw a couple picks in this game. He's probably going to get sacked a few times by that tough Chiefs defense. And until I have a reason to doubt, I can't pick against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking the Chiefs tonight. But that 9-point spread,
high.
It's a little high. I like the Bucks to cover that 9 points. But I'm still taking the Chiefs. What's the total? Let's see here. What's the total on this game?
Well, it's too late to bet it now because it's started.
Yeah, it just started. So ESPN's not showing me the total right now because the game just started. Let's see if I can find it. Fuck. Yeah, it's not showing me the total. Here we go. 45 and a half. Ooh, 45 and a half. I kind of like the over. I like the over for that. And then the line just switched. Now it's Kansas City 8.5. Yeah, I like the Bucks. I like the Bucks to cover.
Yeah, some of the sharps came in towards the end, and they know that Kansas City actually historically over the last couple of years has a tough time covering these spreads.
Mm-hmm.
So they wait to the end, wait till the public drives it up because the Chiefs are popular, and then they come in at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that game is going on right now. We'll see what happens. Chris Coran, I hate you both.
What's up, Chris?
Buddy. I hope they play well. I just don't think it'll happen. But that's it. That's all the games. Venting about our terrible teams. My team's better than his, but our terrible teams. There you go. What do you got going on, Beardo?
Nothing. Just gonna watch the game, chill, hang out, and then big day tomorrow. Big day, very important day for our country. So
it's the trade deadline.
I
missed this one from iLucifer for 2. Chiefs 7-0. Will Bills game be a measuring stick? Well, there you go. Sorry, I missed his super chat, Lucifer, but I got it now. I kind of talked about it a little bit. Yeah, I do. That's a big game. That's a big game for them. 100%. 100%. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's it.
Big day tomorrow. Trade deadline and the election.
Trade deadline and the election. So we'll see what moves certain teams make, and we'll see who's going to be the president of our country tomorrow.
We shall see.
Yep.
Go out and vote, please. Please. Yeah. The demographic, the people watches, please go out and vote. I'm sure most of you already are. But all right, guys, that's it. We'll talk to you later. Peace.